to a large extent yield significant strength.
Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan has vowed to move on from the deadly protests set off by last week's disputed election. Opponents say the vote was rigged and that hundreds died. However, the government has dismissed the toll as exaggerated. The 65-year-old, only one of two female heads of state in Africa, took the oath of office at a ceremony at a military parade ground within the State House in the capital Dodoma yesterday, speaking to dignitaries including leaders from presidents of Somalia, Burundi, Mozambique and Zambia. Suluhu Hassan says people need to move on. And finally, the body that oversees the European Convention on Human Rights says it's ready to discuss reforms to the treaty as global pressure grows over migration. 9 EU member states and the UK have called for it to be reworked. The convention was created after the Second World War to protect fundamental rights and political freedoms. The BBC's Dominic Cassiani has the details.
Fundamentally, this is going to come down to the 46 member states and where they all end up. And I think what you've got to think about there is whether or not a form of wording changes, particularly around perhaps what's called Article 8, the right to privacy and family life, whether or not the countries can come up with tweaks to that which balance their feelings that they need to have more control as they see it over migration within and across Europe, but also effectively adhere to the central human rights principles at the heart of this organisation.
For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Cholani Tulo Mwepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Well, it's gone 6 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Good afternoon and welcome to The Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, The African Perspective with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. We're coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Join us live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. And do me a favor, download that Channel Africa app. We've got a brand new app. Yes, check it out on your Play Store, your Android or your iOS platform where you buy the apps. Download the Channel Africa app so you can stream the show, check out the lineup, read up about the presenters, check out the amazing work that Channel Africa is doing behind the scenes. And a big thank you to Lulu Gabu and Team Africa Update tomorrow at 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Central African Time. It's a good afternoon to you, Mmatsheko Mosito. How you doing?
I'm great. How's your Tuesday? Off to a good start for me. How's yours?
Fantastic so far. I was asking Lulu Gabu what's happening outside. Is there a strike that I'm not aware of at the SABC? The parking lot was empty today. There where I normally park. No, for real. Like, I always struggle with parking at this time of the day.
Yeah.
And today it was empty, man. I was like, what is happening? Is there some sort of retreat that I'm not aware of that we should be a part of? But yeah, outside of that, day is going fantastic. How's yours?
Listen, my day is amazing. November is a very busy month for some of us. It is my birthday month, but there's a lot going on. And actually, that's going to be part of my concern. I want to call it a concern where we do the vent segment, because I actually have decided I don't want to attach complaining to my identity. So it will be a concern that I will raise later on in the show. So that, of course, is a permanent fixture on the show. Anything you'd like to share a bit later on about, things that you're observing that are making you a little bit upset that you want to get off your chest, you're most welcome to do so as we get into the vent segment of the show. Right. What else is happening?
Here's what's coming up on the show. We kickstart our conversations by exploring the emotional and psychological impact of unrealistic beauty standards on women. That's our first conversation. And then we uncover the truth behind Chris Honey's assassination as retired Judge Chris Nicholson investigates the hidden forces. And in our final conversation, we have Momo Matsunyane, who is bringing her critical social themes to life in a first published collection of plays. There are 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken, in this anthology, and we'll be touching base on all of those. And do you think, actually, I've never really read an anthology, like a collection of poems and all that. I realize that I have never. Personally, that's just me though. Don't judge. But
that's interesting. No, we absolutely do not, because we're all human beings with different life experiences. But it's definitely something I would encourage.
Okay, maybe back in high school, somewhere there. But willingly going to a bookshop to go buy an anthology, I don't think I've ever done that before. But I think I should.
I definitely think you should. You are shortchanging yourself in a way.
Sounds like it.
So do it. Yeah. I mean, find a subject matter that interests you, or a human being who's thinking you are interested in, and take it from there.
Love it.
Yeah.
And join us live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. It's 10 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Upsider, welcome to the show.
The Morning Switch Weekend with the Shy Guy.
The story that takes us to Zambia. There are 2 men actually that were sentenced to prison for the plot to kill the president with witchcraft. You go like, what? So these guys were arrested actually in Lusaka, and what was found on them was a live chameleon. Can you believe that? Animal tails and bottles of concoction. That law takes us back to 1914, which is the Witchcraft Act. I can imagine now arrested, and they go to jail for the next 2 years. I presume that when you get to jail, they get to ask you actually, what is it that you committed? Now, this is the first of its kind, by the way, for somebody to be arrested for such. They in Pemba, whenever they pass, hey, Chikanga, hey, Uloya, hey, Mulosi. And imagine here I am in these early hours of the mornings, I get to talk about witchcraft.
Saturday and Sunday mornings belong to the Morning Switch. 3 to 6 a.m. Central African Time. The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito. Only on Channel Africa, the African perspective. The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito. Only on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Papa kutoka manzabe picha twazi twanga kisera posti insta wanga kwa kera baada ya chali kimoko cause I just wanna let them know I'm African beauty African beauty you're my African beauty you're my African beauty you're my African beauty
round the world, girl, I've been looking for you. I think I might just find you in Africa. Girl, you know the sound when I come around. Lost you in the crowd, girl, pick up your crown. Yeah, do it now, do it now. Do it now, do it now.
Busy telly, kama ngojera Uba kama tanga segera Kovyoroka bakoko Kutoka mazabe Picha twaze twanga kisera Posti insta wanga kwa kera Wataja vike moko Cause I just wanna let you know African beauty African beauty You're my African beauty African beauty, bembea, takupepea, African beauty. Oh, love is what I see when I look into your eyes. Tiny Cuba, waga navona. And you know I deserve to be the one that takes you high. Timwili chumbani kila kona. Benzi teli pamba ngojera. Uba kama tanga segera. Kwa vino vya baikoko kutoka manzabe picha twazi twanga kisera posti insta wanga kwa kera baada ya chali kimoko cause I just wanna let them know I'm African beauty oh you're mine yes you're mine African beauty
Minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. African Beauty, Diamond Platinums featuring Omarion. What a way to kickstart the Upside this afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, the African perspective with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. Join us live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. Happy Tuesday, and download that Channel Africa app. If you didn't know, now you know. We have a brand new app. Did you read about yourself on the app? Did you see yourself?
I saw stuff there. Yeah,
brilliant. Were you impressed with how much you look? I mean, the picture that they painted of Mmatsheko Mosito. My goodness me. From filters to fashion magazines, from TikTok trends to glossy billboards, today's world bombards women and girls with the relentless message: you must look a certain way to be enough. But what happens when beauty becomes a burden? Research shows over 90% of young girls wish they could change something about their appearance. That's 90%. And body image concerns are now directly linked to rising anxiety, depression, and eating disorders. This is no longer just about vanity. It's about mental health, identity, and how we see ourselves in the mirror and in society. Today we are joined by psychological counselor Dimpo Lecha to unpack the emotional and psychological cost of chasing perfection in an imperfect world. Dimpo, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to the Upside. Why is it that so many of us, especially young people, feel like we are never enough when we look at that mirror?
Thank you very much for having me. And I liked how you started introducing the whole topic of now beauty in these days has become a bit of a burden, and especially for women. So you'd find that a lot of us look at ourselves and then we compare ourselves to maybe other people, and we compare ourselves to what we see on TV, on billboards, on magazines. So we look at a certain standard that has been painted as this is good enough, and now when you look at that standard, you feel, oh, I don't fit the mold, and therefore I am imperfect or not enough. So yeah.
Dimple, let's talk. Actually, it's funny we're having this conversation. I was watching the founder of Iconic Woman Online, Ekene Ono, and she was talking about how she has waited and wasted so much of her life because she was waiting for physical perfection. In her 20s, waiting to have a flat stomach. In her 30s, she found herself doing the same thing, waiting for a certain body type. And she found herself doing more of the same thing in her 40s even. And now that she's in her 50s, she was just spreading the message on her Instagram account about basically women not waiting on themselves because they're waiting to be a certain way and putting their lives on hold because of that. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how crippling that can be. But not only that, how we can, in today's society where good looks are revered over everything else, how do women cope with that? How do we shift out of that? How do we find our own individuality and our own gifts that we can bring into the world that have got nothing to do with the way we look? I feel weird even asking you that because does that even exist?
Yeah. So you're right. The thing is, and it happens in general, where we, like you were saying, we have the standard and we're saying, oh, I'll be happy if that weight scale reaches 50, or I'll be happy if I can fit into a size 15, and we pause living life because we are waiting for something that might not even come or might not even be practical for some of us. So, how we begin to unpack that, I was watching a podcast a couple of weeks ago where this certain lady spoke about aging and how she's come into her body now that she's aging. And she said something that I found to be quite profound. Her feedback was, the thing is, for her, it's not such a struggle because her worth and her her worth and her value have never hinged on how she looks, you know. And it was quite an interesting take to say, oh, she says she grew up being the smart girl in the family, so she never had the pressure to compete in terms of looks, but rather her journey and her worth was more on achievements, for better or for worse. So when it comes to how do we then start living healthily in a way that has a standard that we may not all need, is exactly that first off we build other ways or other ways that we evaluate ourselves in. And it's not just, oh, I have to look this way, I have to be lighter, I have to be this certain way. But there are other ways of evaluating our worth through purpose and meaning and abilities and so forth, and not just how we look. And then the other thing is, for people who are raising kids or children, you start modeling it. You know, children tend to learn by modeling.
Yeah.
So when our parents model good looks and they model good behavior, or rather acceptance of their own bodies and so forth, children start picking up on that. And like I said, we focus our evaluation of ourselves on our strengths. We focus on kindness, creativity, and we don't just look at how we look. And also we encourage critical thinking. Sometimes something that we do in therapy is we get you to maybe evaluate your own thoughts. For example, if you say, "Ish, I saw Queen looking beautiful in that magazine. I don't look like that. I'm not good enough." One of the things that we teach you to do in therapy is,
D-
okay, fine, you may
Dimple,
feel you're not good enough and all of
Dimple,
those things.
Dimple,
And
I'm so sorry to cut you. We just have to take a quick breather,
it's
and
okay.
we'll continue with the road, and yes, analyzing, and then especially when you start getting psychological help, what those tools look like. We'll continue the conversation as we explore the emotional and psychological impact of unrealistic beauty standards in women. Don't go anywhere.
Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
Mozambique's opposition leader Venancio Mondlane has been charged with incitement to terrorism and disobedience. He faces a total of 5 charges. Charges relate to post-election violence that left hundreds of people dead. What punishment is he looking at?
The most severe charges are 2. One is incitement for terrorism, and also is being charged for mobilizing people for terrorism during the protests. These charges are really serious and severe. If he is condemned, is found guilty, he could serve 10 years plus years in jail, meaning that he would be banned from political participation, mainly for the 2028 and 2029 electoral cycle.
The director of CDD, the Center for Democracy and Development, Adriano Novunga.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. Tebogo and Mmatsheko from the upside.
While we're exploring the emotional and psychological impact of unrealistic beauty standards on women, and we've got on the line psychological counselor Dimpo Lecha to unpack all the emotional and the psychological costs of chasing perfection. Dimpo, I know you were completing your thought, and as you were speaking, I wanted to, because you touched on parents raising children, and I wanted to know, when does this pressure start? Does it start in our teenage years where we are starting to look at other kids and say, I don't look like them, I'm not as beautiful as... When does it actually start, so that parents are also aware of what they're exposing their kids to?
Okay. So it starts in different places for different people. Largely, you'll find that it starts in puberty, when we start to go through changes, when we start to change our bodies and all of those things. So it starts there. But sometimes it also starts as early as when you are young. I've heard many people where I'm Motswana, so people will say, ole maswenyana ole ke mantshunyana, or things like that. And for some people, it may start as early as even before puberty.
Yeah, that's a great concern. But also, what I appreciate, Dimpo, is you raising what actually happens in therapy, because we can have this conversation, and it would have been very easy for us to not think that we can actually benefit from therapy around our self-image. Thoughts are a big thing. So I'd like you to elaborate on that. So if I realize perhaps my internal dialogue around self-image is too external, so by that I mean I'm looking too much at what the world is telling me that I am, not beautiful, not good enough, not thin enough, not whatever the case is. So how can therapy then assist me to kind of morph my internal dialogue to move out of external validation and more into being more self-actualized, as it were?
Okay. So, like, one of the things that we will do when you come in is we'll talk about, okay, what is the issue that then brings you to therapy? And we'll begin to unpack that. And most of the time is we sometimes don't even know where we get these thoughts, right? It's hard to pinpoint, when did I start noticing I was the overweight kid? Or when did I start noticing I was much darker than other kids? So we go all the way back to, when did you first notice it? And what was happening? And what belief was formed when that thing happened? And how has this belief now played out for the rest of your life up until the point we get to therapy? And then from there, we start saying, okay, let's begin to not only just unpack that and talk about it, let's begin to challenge it. To say, like, say, for example, somebody who struggles with body image may sometimes struggle to, say, for example, I'm at work and I have to do a presentation, and then I feel I look a certain way that's not right. It may even be hard for me to get to the point of I'm going to present. And then sometimes we just say, oh, I'm just shy or I'm introverted. But sometimes if it's body image, we start then looking at, okay, where did this thought come and how has it unfolded? And let's start challenging it. But aside from just how you look, you're actually a brilliant speaker, or you're actually well versed in the topic that you're talking about, or you're actually a really good storyteller. We start challenging it and presenting your brain with information that starts looking at other aspects of who you are and not just what you look like. Yeah.
Dimbo, I wish we had more time to unpack some more, perhaps even practical steps that we can take at home so we can develop a much healthier relationship with our body image. And actually, I wouldn't mind that if we can have Dimpo on for just a couple more minutes, just to give us some practical tips that we can take and the role that social media also plays in our lives. Some say it's sometimes as easy as just unfollow some of those accounts that make you feel bad. But are those actually helpful steps? And also I'd love for us to just unpack that with Dimpo right after we get our sports and business news. It's 30 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. Let's get the latest in sports with Figi Lelingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
In this hour, in our sports update, we begin with a marathon. In an unprecedented turn of events, the Comrades Marathon 2026 sold out in less than 10 hours, leaving many eager runners heartbroken and scrambling for answers. Alain Delay, the general manager of the Comrades Marathon, shed light on this marathon phenomenon and discussed the future opportunities for hopeful participants. With a cap of 22,000 entries for next year's 99th edition and an overwhelming demand, the race saw an unprecedented surge in early registrations. The power of social media played a crucial role in this rapid sellout, with marketing posts and enthusiastic sharing fueling the frenzy. Next year's race takes place on the 14th of June. That'll be on a Sunday. The Springbok assistant coach Felix Jones tried hard to give South Africa's next match on their end-of-the-year tour against France any more je ne sais quoi that it already has. The Boks are in Paris to face France in a rematch of the 2023 World Cup quarter-final, which set the green and gold on their way to defending their World Cup title. French rugby journalists are calling this test the biggest of the year for France, but Springbok assistant coach Felix Jones was quick to pump the brakes on talking up what could be a contender for the match of autumn internationals at the very least.
I wouldn't say any single test match is bigger than another one. There's been some big games for us this year in that we played against New Zealand. We've lost a test match against Australia at home. We also have Italy after this game, Ireland later, and Wales later in this series as well. So for us, every test match is massive. Every time we're representing South Africa, it's huge. But I can understand the extra attention perhaps this match gets because of the quarterfinal in 2023. I can understand the extra attention.
If the coaching staff in the box setup are trying to talk down the encounter, player of the match against Japan, Kurt Lee Arendse, was more to the point.
We're going to have to prepare well for France because I think they will come with revenge from the World Cup. So I think we might just plan well and stick to that plan.
On to cricket news. England are banking on their rapid bowling attack as they look to end their Ashes drought in Australia, with fast bowler Mark Wood saying the squad has a different feel to previous unsuccessful trips down under. England last won the Ashes in 2015 and have not won a series in Australia since 2011, losing their last three tours by margins of 5-0, 4-0 and 4-0. Their last series defeat in Australia in 2022 led to an extensive review and shake-up of team leadership, resulting in the appointments of coach Brendan McCallum and Red Bull captain Ben Stokes, as well as a marked shift in playing style. The 5-match Ashes series begins in Perth on the 21st of November. And in tennis news, Italy's Tennis Federation chief Angelo Binaghi says Novak Djokovic has confirmed his participation at the ATP in Turin finals, easing concerns that a 24-time Grand Slam champion may pull out of the season finale. World number 5th, who withdrew from the season ender last year due to injuries, skipped the Paris Masters and has not played since losing to qualifier Valentina Vacherot in the Shanghai Masters semi-finals last month. The 9th to the 16th of November ATP finals feature the world's top 8 players, with Djokovic having won the tournament a record 7 times and last lifting the trophy in 2023. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figile Lungwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. 9 to 12 midday Central African Time. On the move with Balisa Tau and Benjamin Mushatama.
Now, when you go to the hospital, there's medical attention that you need, and that's the only experience you're expecting to have. If you are a transgender person, sometimes those experiences can be marred by the demand of trying to understand your gender, your sexuality, and not particularly getting the assistance that you need.
One time, I was sexually abused by someone who used to live next door to my house. So when I went to the police to report, I was in a weave, I was wearing a dress, and when I got there, the police person that helped me said to me, obviously we're gonna rape you because why do you walk around looking like trying to be a woman when you are a man? And after that, the person just walked scot-free.
How do you deal with that? Because there's a double barrel abuse there. So it's not even double barrels, there's kind of multi-dimensional forms of abuse.
I think one thing that I will tell you about trans people is we are strong, not because we want to be strong, but because we don't have an option. It is what it is. Because the struggles that we face each and every day are like unimaginable.
Keeping you on the know and on the move.
35 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Let's get the latest business news. We've got Nosipo Zuma standing by.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Good afternoon. In your business news this hour, a report released by the Confederation of Zimbabwe Industry, CZI, has revealed that the country's annual inflation rate could halve from current levels by the end of 2025, driven by a stable local currency supported by high gold prices. Now, annual inflation in Zimbabwe measured in the ZiG currency fell sharply to 32.7% in October from 82.7% in September. The CZI expects inflation to decline further, potentially reaching between 15% and 20% by December 2025. Now, this projection is attributed to negative month-on-month inflation in recent months and a stable ZiG currency bolstered by surging gold prices. South African telecommunication infrastructure provider OpenServe says South Africa's largest telecommunications infrastructure provider is working with community stakeholders to ensure that everyone across the country is connected. The telecom subsidiary is South Africa's largest fiber provider. OpenServe joined the global community in celebrating World Fiber Day at its headquarters in Centurion. The chief commercial officer is Mokgosi Mabaso.
Covering fiber in the country, it's not something that you can do on your own, right? So strategic partners with these ISPs is super important, because after we've laid the fiber, all they do, they then leverage their internet on top. Then they take the fiber to their respective portfolios. They play a very key role in the homes, for example. So we've got partners like either AfriHost, Telkom, ISP, Vox, you can name a few of those. We also have those that are in the local communities. They only specifically play, in those specific areas.
South African retailer Pepco has acquired several fashion brands from privately owned retailability as part of its push into the adult clothing market. The Cape Town-based Pepco has been growing its adult wear categories in recent months through the acquisition of Cloche or Choice Clothing and the launch of its Ayana women's wear brand. The company, which also sells electronics and furniture, is also a market leader in children's clothing and school uniform markets in the country or in South Africa through its PAP and Ackermans brands. There's good news for South Africa's motorists. Now, fuel prices will decrease across the board with effect from midnight tonight. The Mineral Resources and Petroleum Department says that the price of both grades of petrol will go down by 51 South African cents, diesel by between 19 South African cents and 21 South African cents respectively, and paraffin by 1 South African cent at wholesale price. The department has attributed the decrease in the fuel price to lower Brent crude oil prices and the stronger rand against the US dollar and the period under review. The department spokesperson, Robert Mmatsheko.
The following fuel prices will be effective on Wednesday, the 5th of November, 2025. Both grades of petrol will decrease by 51 cents per litre. Diesel 50 ppm will decrease by 21 cents a litre, and diesel 500 ppm will decrease by 19 cents a litre. Paraffin will decrease by 1 cent a litre. Maximum retail price of LP gas will decrease by 61 cents per kilogram countrywide and by 70 cents per kilogram in the Western Cape.
Data from the Chinese Passenger Car Association show that Tesla's China-made electric vehicle sales fell 9.9% to over 61,000 units in October from a year earlier, reversing a 2.8% increase in September. Sales of the U.S. automaker's Model 3 and Model Y vehicles made at its Shanghai Gigafactory, including exports to Europe, India and other markets, dropped to 32.3% from September. Now, its biggest Chinese rival, BYD, posted a 12% drop in global vehicle sales last month. Your financial indicators: $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,436 naira, and Botswana is 13 pula 70. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 20, and in Zambia is 22 kwacha 08. The BRICS countries: $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 ruble 38. Russia is 79 rubles 55. India is 82 rupees 80. China at 7 yuan 12, and in South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 31. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,993 and platinum at $1,557 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $64.09 a barrel. Now, for any business news stories you would like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I'm Mosito.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito. Only on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
It's 42 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. This is The Upside on Channel Africa, The African Perspective. We are your gateway to the good life with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. Join us live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. And download our brand new Channel Africa app. Let's continue our conversation as we were exploring the emotional and psychological impact of unrealistic beauty standards on women. And on the line, we're joined by psychological counselor Dimpo Lecha. Dimpo, let's continue our conversation. And I guess we have to touch on social media because it plays quite a big role in helping us shape what beauty standards look like, what perfection looks like. How can we then develop healthier relationships with our social media platforms? Is it as easy as if there's an influencer or someone that you're following online that is making you look at yourself in a negative way, just simply unfollow them or unfollow them? Is it that simple?
Mm-hmm. All right. So yes, that can be quite an important step in taking towards making sure that you relate healthily with your body. So it's very important to limit comparison, and you can do that by curating your social media, as you said, and also learning to, like I said, follow other accounts that inspire you, not just in terms of your body, but in terms of general other things that you're interested in, things that intrigue you, things that you're good at, and so forth. So it can be a useful tool, and it doesn't just stop there. The other important thing that comes with that is learning how to then challenge your negative like inner dialogue, or when you see that thing, because sometimes it's not just one influencer, or it's more. Learning how to then challenge your inner dialogue that is quite harsh, so to speak. Yeah.
Right. I want to put a spanner in the works, Dimpo, and talk about because I mean, even just how this conversation has been, tailored for how we are presenting it at the moment around girls and women, and how we are the ones that are experiencing body dissatisfaction. Let's look at this from the male perspective. Where are they in terms of the physical pressures? Do men have the same issues? Because a lot of the time you'll see roundtable discussions, conversations with a group of women talking about this is the construct of the male, that women are this way, that we think about this way. They are the ones that are the lipstick manufacturers. They are the ones that are that have constructed the workforce to be the way it is. So where are they in this equation of physical and body dissatisfaction?
Okay, thank you very much for bringing that up, because it's quite key, because men are not immune to body dysmorphia as well. They are all men. We want tall and dark, handsome, or we want certain men to look certain way, and so they too will find themselves being victims of such societal pressures as well. It's just that you find women more likely to experience these body image issues. For example, in Setswana, we have a saying, "Monna ha bekliwi," or "Monna o kgomatiwa hela." That is to say, it's more acceptable for a man to look a certain way, and for women, we tend to be a bit more strict. When we evaluate women, we tend to want them to be pleasing and acceptable, and it especially relates to their appearance. Whereas for men, it's not necessarily the case, but there are instances where you find men also falling victim to the same.
And Dimpo, are there practical steps that we can take, both men and women, to develop a healthier relationship with our bodies and the way that we look at ourselves?
Okay. So I think, yes, there are practical steps that we can take. The first thing is learning to shift how we look at our bodies, but rather as an instrument that carries us through life. When we start to look at our bodies with gratitude, our bodies carry us through so much. They are this vessel that we use to navigate life. So it's very important to shift how we look at our bodies. They carry us through so much, like I said. And also we then learn to listen to our bodies, learn to rest when we are tired, to eat when we are hungry, or to not overeat even if we want to, and to just move in ways that don't feel punishing to our body, whether it's our diet or the way that we exercise. And then to also speak kindly to ourselves, like I said, and then to engage in things that allow us to connect with our body positively, dancing, stretching, walking, anything that reminds you that your body is not an enemy but an ally, And then when we see interference with our daily life, it's then important to also seek professional support.
Right. Dimpo, thank you so much. So much value in what you had to say. And I guess the work is really up to us. At the end of the day, if you have identified the problem, then you can change it. Dr. Phil used to say, you cannot change what you don't acknowledge. So here we are. We need to acknowledge that there is an issue so that we can deal with it. But thank you so much for the time. Anywhere where we can perhaps find you, do you share some psychological counseling on social media? But also if we'd like to make a personal booking.
Okay. Currently, I'm not that active on social media, but I tend to post a few insights in my LinkedIn platform. It's just Dimpo Janet Lecha. That's where I'm mostly available.
Okay, Dimpo Lecha, a psychological counselor, just walking us through physical identities in this world that has come up with all these unrealistic standards of beauty, and we're just unpacking that. The link for this conversation should be up on our YouTube and Facebook, just in case you missed it.
It's 11 minutes before 2 p.m. Central African time. Let's take a quick breather. When we get back, it's time for Vent O'Clock.
With gratitude for the voices, the rhythm, and the dreams that unite us all.
Roho ya Afrika inaishi katika kila hadithi tunayosimulia.
Each new day is a gift, a reminder to pause, to breathe, and to give thanks for the laughter we share and the journeys we take and the stories that shape who we are.
Cada nascer do sol, lembre que há algo pelo qual ser grato.
La vie est un voyage, parcourons-la avec gratitude.
Channel Africa, celebrate the beauty of life with gratitude for the voices, the rhythms, and the dreams that unite us all. This is Africa with Channel Africa, the African perspective. Tebogo and Mmatsheko from the upside.
It's 10 minutes before 2 p.m. Central African time. It's time for Vent O'Clock. Get it off your chest. My vent today, it's not about cars and driving on the road and parking, reverse parking. I want to vent about personal shoppers. Okay? And there are two, I'm going to talk about two different experiences here. Personal shoppers and ordering food online. Okay? So, personal shoppers, these are the ones that, and I'll use the grocery example. You go buy, or you order your food online, you order your groceries online because maybe you just don't have the time to go into a physical shop to go and buy your groceries, whatever the reason is. You don't like a crowd, you don't like getting out of your house, whatever the reason is. I'm one of those. I'm extremely lazy. I do not want to.
You are here for convenience. I love
absolute
that for you.
Convenience. You will not find me at any supermarket. As long as there's an app where I can order the food, I'll order it on that app.
Done.
You won't see me in that store. But personal shoppers, the idea is that when you place an order on these grocery supermarket apps, you are expecting the personal shopper to buy as you would, as if you were in the actual store. Pick the best of the produce, the freshest.
That is why I don't use them.
I am so disappointed because I realize that there must be some sort of incentive that they have or commission that they have. They get it done so quickly. Yeah, and you're very impressed. Oh yeah, fantastic! I got it delivered in less than 15 minutes. Fantastic! And it's always a rush when you go into a supermarket. The one or two times when I do actually go, and I see them running. They are running around. They're not walking like we would, just strolling. Okay, cool. We must get chips there. We must get drinks there. We must do. No, they are running from one item to the other. It must be time bound, and there must be an incentive attached to it. So if you shop within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you get bonus or whatever the case is. In so doing, it compromises their judgment in terms of what produce they choose for us. And oftentimes I am left with food that is on the brink of rotting, or food that I would not have picked myself because it just looks so, like you could have picked something else. You could have chosen a different item. So the shoppers are not, they're not getting into our mindsets as the customer, as the client. They're not shopping for the best items. They're getting it done as quickly as possible. And I do not like that. And we can't complain. Well, you can sort of be like, this bread that they got me was moldy, so I can please refund me my 30, 50 rand, whatever. How much is bread? 20 something.
Wait, nah.
No,
don't know the price of bread.
No, stop it.
Man, you are gold.
It's about 20 something, right? So refund me that because I don't like the bread. But then you are disappointed because you're stuck with that moldy bread now. Can personal shoppers please, if you're listening in, if you're watching in on the show, right, please choose the best for us. Please choose the best for us. The same problem I have when you order food from a restaurant for delivery. It looks very different when you're in the actual restaurant and they serve you there on a plate. Everything looks proper, fresh ingredients, brilliant. When you order it for delivery, it's almost as if they get the scrap, the little bits of scrap that were left over from a previous order, then they put it together, give it to them.
From someone's plate.
Someone's leftover, put it together, and they give it to you. And then you get it at home, you're like, I paid so much for this, and I have a service charge on this, and the price is already inflated on the app. I expect it to be proper. And it seldomly is. So restaurants who are serving takeaways, please do it as well as you would if we were in the actual restaurant. Personal shoppers, please choose the best of the best for us, as if it was us who were shopping there. You are representing us. Please stop disappointing us. That's my event. A very personal one today.
Yeah, I would have to say that these are collective shoppers. You've got to hire your own personal shopper so that you can train them according to your own standard. And also there's a supermarket chain that's very popular in South Africa that is kind of championing the space of, you can buy from our app and we'll get you the food and the items that you've ordered from our supermarket in 60 minutes.
Okay, so, we know which one.
So there is a time limit, okay? I cannot stand there and look at the ingredients for you, and the expiry date for you, and look at the grapes and see if there's 5 rotten ones.
These are the basic ones, though. These are basic things. It's not going to take you a whole day to do that.
So they've got, and also maybe they've got like quite a couple, because they actually are not your personal shopper. They're the collective shoppers. And they're probably, it's you, it's Mmatsheko, it's Dumelo, it's everybody on the list that they've got to take care of.
Yes.
So I think if you really want it that personalized, you got to get yourself a butler or something. But mine is around, and I don't know if it's a bit of an odd one.
Yeah.
But we're at the end of the year, if I could put it that way, right? And there is just this narrative that people have got to be exhausted. Oh, it's the end of the year, we're exhausted. But my thing is, everybody is at a different season, and because we are seeing the world of work change so much, I think over the last 5 years, there's been quite rapid changes, and especially post the COVID era, if we could call it that.
Very true.
The world of work has changed. There's more work from home. We're seeing a lot more people starting businesses and working from home and working remotely and working from holiday destinations. I know that is not the typical reality for everybody, but I just want to say, in institutions, we should just stop this thing of kind of wanting everybody to feel the way we feel. Do you know what I mean? And you almost have to take on other people's thoughts and feelings around how we should be feeling at the end of the year. So if you're cheerful and bouncy and imaginative and goal driven in November, are you joking? You should be. What is wrong with you? Come join us. We're exhausted. Come on, we're tired. Let's all be tired, because that is what this time of the year requires for us to be tired, to be slowing down, to be disinterested, to not be mindful. And if you are happy chappy, goal driven, ha, ha, ba, ba, boom, boom, gazanga. It doesn't make sense to people. And then you just become this oddball that nobody likes. People want to complain about you because they're like, "Ooh, what?" And they gossip about you. Ooh, what's wrong with this one?
They're using substances.
Hayi
These
bo
ones.
angazosiphaphela lona. Yo, what jumper kangaka at the end? It's the end of the year. You are supposed to be exhausted.
Yeah.
So we are kind of projecting that onto other people, and I don't
Yeah.
think that's right, because everybody's at a different season. I may be exhausted in April because my November, December, January was so busy and so productive and so goal driven that by the time it's April, I really do feel like I need a break. And you are bouncy in April because that's your season to be bouncy. So because we are at different seasons, we should acknowledge that, and we should really sit and listen and also just pay attention. Listen to what the next person is saying, and don't jump to project your exhaustion onto them. Do you know what I mean? Like
100%.
everybody's different,
Yeah.
and how we do things is different. We could be working the same job in the same institution, but we are not going to experience it the same way, because our calendars and how we experience work mentally, physically, and emotionally is different.
100%.
So maybe my threshold is different to yours. I'm not going to expect you to be exhausted because I'm exhausted on the 4th of November. I can't wait for it to be the 1st of December so that I can get out of here. If that's not your philosophy, that is not your philosophy.
100%.
So we need to stop projecting our exhaustion at the end of the year onto other people. It's just a Gregorian calendar. Nothing to project onto other people. We're all in different seasons.
And don't take other people's energies just because you're around them.
Totally.
And
Be
that's
mindful of your own.
And that's the energy that they're projecting. Be mindful of your own. Stand firm and stand strong in your own, because you have a different story, you have a different journey. You may be experiencing the same thing in terms of timelines, days at work, but your experience is very different to theirs. And maybe you have a slightly more energy than they have. So it's very important for you to don't take it all in. Don't take other people's energies in. Please, be mindful.
That's my TED Talk for the day.
Protect your own energy. Protect it. It's 2 p.m. Central African Time. Let's get the latest news with Jwalani Tulongwebe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Top stories: Asawa, a court interdicts Operation Dudula in South Africa, and Trump endorses Andrew Cuomo to be mayor of New York. Good afternoon. The High Court in Johannesburg, South Africa, has interdicted Operation Dudula from harassing foreign nationals. This means the group, which has turned into a political party, cannot prevent people from entering health facilities or schools, as this is unconstitutional. The interdict comes after civil society organizations, including Kopanang Africa Against Xenophobia, hauled Operation Dudula to court. Judge Lester Adams said that being a non-citizen or undocumented does not mean one's basic right could be violated without consequences. The judgment is with costs. South Africa's Deputy Police Minister, Dr. Pholi Bushielo, says she believes Parliament's ad hoc committee could assist in resetting the country's police service to, among others, improve service delivery and eradicate corruption. She is appearing before the committee investigating allegations of criminal infiltration, corruption and political interference in the justice system. These allegations were made by KZN Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Ndlandla Mkhwanazi, in July this year. In her closing remarks over evidence-in-chief, Bushielo told the committee that she values the process of the committee and that it could restore the public's trust in SAPS again.
Trust will be built on 3 pillars. The first one being the pillar of lawful process. And also the second one, the pillar of internal accountability, where decisions are made transparently, utilizing the full capacity of deputy ministers. And the third one, the pillar of external oversight, where bodies like the IPIT and Parliament itself are empowered to hold the police accountable.
Sudan's military government is meeting to discuss the security situation this after the paramilitary rapid support forces captured Al-Fasher, the army's last stronghold in the Darfur region. The talks coincide with a warning from the International Criminal Court that atrocities reported in Al-Fasher could amount to war crimes and crimes against humanity. The BBC's Mmatsheko has the details.
Eyewitnesses have said corpses are piling up on the streets, while others have said they've had no access to food or water for days. This after thousands of civilians fled towns and villages where the rapid support forces have taken over a strategic area linking the vast western region of Darfur with the capital Khartoum. The United Nations and international aid agencies have raised alarm over the fate of civilians as reports of mass killings and rape continue to emerge.
Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan has vowed to move on from the deadly protests set off by last week's disputed election. Opponents say the vote was rigged and that hundreds died. However, the government has dismissed the toll as exaggerated. The 65-year-old, one of only two female heads of state in Africa, took the oath of office at a ceremony at a military parade ground within the State House in the capital Dodoma yesterday, speaking to dignitaries including leaders from presidents of Somalia, Burundi, Mozambique and Zambia. Suluhu Hassan says people need to move on. Donald Trump has endorsed one of his longtime critics, Andrew Cuomo, to be mayor of New York City. The president says voters have no choice but to support Cuomo in today's election to stop the Democratic candidate, Zoran Mamdani. Trump has threatened to withhold millions of dollars in federal funds from New York City if Mamdani wins. The BBC's Anthony Zacher has the details.
Zoran Mamdani, the Democratic nominee, is the kind of candidate that I think a lot of people on the left, a lot of Democrats want to see and want to see their party become. He's young, he's charismatic, he has a diverse background, he is a full-throated endorsement of progressive ideas, free public transportation, free child care, providing state-run grocery stores in places that don't have a lot of grocery stores. It's the kind of thing that I think a lot of voters want their party to be.
Recapping the top story of this hour, the High Court in Johannesburg, South Africa, has interdicted Operation Dudula from harassing foreign nationals. This means the group, which turned into a political party, cannot prevent people from entering health facilities or schools, as this is unconstitutional. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Mwebe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Six minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. It's the golden hour, the middle hour of The Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, the African Perspective, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. We're still coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. And you can join us live on our social media platforms and check out our lovely studio, see our guests when we have our interviews at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. And don't forget to download the Channel Africa app, our brand new app. And I've been on it. It's amazing. You can stream the shows. You can check out the lineup, read up on the presenters, check out all the amazing work that Channel Africa is doing on that app. So go to your Play Store and download the Channel Africa app. All right, interesting conversation that we are about to have, one that touches on history.
Absolutely.
There I am.
There
I'm
we go.
here.
You are here.
We absolutely are. Also, just on that note of our new app, you can also do business with us. You know, you can do that.
Yes.
You can do business with us. You can buy some airtime on the upside, and let's collaborate and let's take this agenda for a progressive Africa forward. But indeed, we are talking to Chris Nicholson in this hour, who's a retired, almost said a required, but yes, maybe he is required.
Yeah, the story is required.
For this conversation, absolutely. He's a retired High Court judge and also lauded as an acclaimed author for an in-depth conversation about his latest work. So he pursued law at Michael House and the University of Natal. Later, he dedicated his career to human rights law and assisted victims of apartheid here in South Africa. He was appointed a High Court judge in the year 1995 after retiring in the year 2010. So we're going to talk about publishing 6 books, with his first 2 earning nominations for Alan Paton Prize. And this was for the non-fiction category. So we're going to talk to him and get a sense of what is or the research and the complexities and the forces in his latest writing. So he's going to be joining us via telephone or via Zoom, I beg your pardon, for us to have this conversation.
All right, stay locked in for that conversation. It's 9 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time. This is the golden hour, the second hour of The Upside.
África. Conhece o Ntivani?
Claro que sou eu.
Ntivani é o amante da música de corpo e alma.
Eu amo música africana.
Ele aprecia todos os tipos de melodias e passa os seus dias a ouvir a Channel África.
Okay.
Adivinha só, a Channel África quer ajudar o Ntivani e os amantes da música em todo o lado a descobrir ainda mais música incrível. Por isso, a Channel África está a convocar artistas africanos a submeterem as suas músicas. Músicos, lembrem-se de nos dar todas as informações relevantes no music@channelafrica.co.za. As submissões são a vossa oportunidade de ser ouvidos, mas não garantem inclusão na lista. Todas as submissões serão cuidadosamente analisadas para verificar se cumprem os requisitos da nossa estação. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Your afternoons just got even better. Fresh and exciting. The Upside, hooking you up with today's news from an African perspective. Tebogo and Mmatsheko on The Upside.
Stone boy. Wycliffe. Catch a vibe on the dance floor. Catch a vibe on the dance floor. Catch a vibe on the dance floor. Catch a vibe, yeah.
Pray for me, my brother, when you see say I dey enter. Yow, 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 yow. Pray for me, my sister, when you see say I dey enter. Yow, 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 yow. 'Cause life can get so hard, but still worth living. Still worth living. 'Cause life can get so tough, but still worth living. Still worth living. This life that we live in mysterious. The things we deserve are not meant for us. The bigger system now pamper us. That's why some people so treacherous. So anywhere we step, we are dangerous. Man stepping as a soldier, conqueror. God busting at the door with the mentorage. Revolutionary minded Sankara. 'Cause life can get so hard, but still worth living. Still worth living. 'Cause life can get so tough, but still worth living. Still worth living. Pray for me, my brother, when you see say I dey enter. Yow, 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 yow. Pray for me, my sister, when you see say I dey enter. Yow, 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 yow.
Yeah. You see a it's all by design. Refugees, man, I'm caught up in the gun line. I'm with the tribe, we come to free up the system. Cause the prisons are the new plantations. Daughters are raising no fathers. Single mother gotta be the provider. Back 11 every time that he walk up. Bring a new meaning to the words on my shoulder. I'm from the concrete jungle, the land I know, man. Hollywood, get a straight, man. Thousand was a black man. Struggle on the boat, DEA want the coke. I'm a vote, not even Da Vinci could break the code. I'm a stone boy, highest grade of marijuana. I've been through the dungeon slaves out in Ghana. Thank you, mama, for giving me the passage. In LA, they could've got me like Christopher Wallace.
Pray for me, my brother, when you see, say I dey enter. Yow, 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 yow. Pray for me, my sister, when you see, say I dey enter. Yow, 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 yow. This life can get so hard, but still worth living, still worth living. This life can get so tough, but still worth living, still worth living.
13 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time. We've got Stone Boy on that one, and featuring Wyclef John. The name of the song is Pray For Me. Here comes a conversation that if you are a history history enthusiast, so that's not a thing, is it? History enthusiast, history scholar. And there are certain narratives that you have dismissed in this day and age, in this modern age, where you believe the story has to go a bit deeper than what we have been fed. Perhaps the assassination of Chris Hani is one of those. You've sort of looked at the narrative that's been painted out on the media platforms, and whether politicals and governments, whatever, but you read within those lines and you're like, it must go deeper. Some things just don't make sense. The way it was orchestrated, the way it happened, the motives behind it, and then the story that we ultimately know today. Well, we've got a retired judge who's exploring those very narratives.
Absolutely. Chris Nicholson, a retired High Court judge and acclaimed author, for an in-depth conversation about his latest work. We did mention just his work, of course, having pursued law at Michael House and then the University of Natal back in the day, and then serving as a human rights lawyer. Right, during and also assisting victims of apartheid during the time when it was needed most in our dispensation. He was appointed a High Court judge in the year 1995, and he retired in the year 2010, and that's when he really started focusing on the writing, on the publishing of his books. He's written 6 of them, and 2 of them have already been lauded as Ellen Payton Prize worthy books for the nonfiction category. So guess what? We actually have Chris Nicholson on the line, and we're going to talk about his latest writing, the research that went into it, and really narratives that investigate the broader network of individuals and institutions that may have been involved in what you were mentioning around the passing of Chris Hani. Mr. Nicholson, a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome to Channel Africa.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you. Thank you. What moments from your legal career stand out, particularly when we look at spaces of transformation?
You know, I always sympathized with the suppressed people of South Africa. So I was a human rights lawyer at the Legal Resources Center prior to becoming a judge. And my first investigation in writing was the Craddock Four, and I'm pleased to say that I hope as a result of my book they reopened the Craddock Four inquest to try and nail down the offenders.
You know what? Shall I call you honorable judge?
No. Chris is fine.
Chris, let's talk about what inspired you, because I mean, you moved then from law to then writing. Was this always part of the plan while you were serving as a judge? Had you always wanted to tell these stories, or did this happen when you retired? You're like, okay, no, I need to share certain things.
I always was involved in writing of some sort as a human rights lawyer, writing up the law for the oppressed, the sort of legal problems that confronted the poor. So the writing sort of yen carried on. And once I was retired, and sometimes during my, court vacations and long leave, I thought I'd like to try and solve problems that hitherto had not been addressed, like the Craddock Four and that sort of thing. And then I live not far from Chris Hani Highway in Durban, and I kept thinking to myself, I don't believe the real story was told about Chris Hani. Two people, Janusz Wolosz, the Polish guy, and Clive Derby Lewis were convicted, but were they just puppets, and who were the puppeteers? In other words, who were the people really pulling the strings?
Right. Okay, let's talk about, I'm always really just fascinated by the network of professionals, especially ones in your league that have been doing the work for a very long time. Human rights law was a very critical sort of center to bringing people together and also assisting us in the transition from the years of segregation into a democratic South Africa under the leadership of former late President Nelson Mandela, who actually then eulogized, I beg your pardon, Chris Hani's role in the birth of the new South Africa. So let's talk about how you interrogate those themes around Chris Hani and his involvement in a non-racial South Africa. And of course, yes, his life was cut short, but he did have some impact. How are you opening space for that conversation in the book?
I'm glad you mentioned Nelson Mandela, because he did say in a speech, and I'm quoting, "The fateful day of Chris Hani's brutal murder is indelibly etched on the hearts of all freedom-loving people, and no one will be satisfied until the truth about his death is known." So you were wise in mentioning Nelson Mandela in this context. But you ask a very important question, and that is, why was Chris Hani singled out to be murdered? And who were, who had a motive to kill him? I think one's got to look at three main areas. Chris Hani was a communist, and he believed fervently in socialism, and he believed in the Freedom Charter, which which sketched a way that the wealth in South Africa would be redistributed. So clearly the captains of industry were anxious that the wealth not be redistributed, and my view in the book is that they selected various members of the black elite to enrich, to avoid the catastrophic, from their point of view, redistribution of the wealth throughout the country. Now, if one's looking then at possible corporate side to this, one must remember that Janusz Wolosz drove a car that was owned by a captain of industry called Peter Jackson. So he was driving Peter Jackson's car at the time of the murder. And if one looked at the police docket, the file that contains all the statements, one finds an instruction from the security branch to say, don't investigate Peter Jackson. So they were trying to say, stay away from the corporate dimension to his murder. So that was one side, of the possible string pullers and the people who were, controlling Clive Derby Lewis and Janusz Wolosz.
We are currently uncovering the truth behind Chris Hani's assassination with the retired Judge Chris Nicholson, and his book that we are uncovering and specifically talking about here is titled Who Really Killed Chris Hani? It's 22 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. We'll continue the conversation right after this.
With gratitude for the voices, the rhythm, and the dreams that unite us all.
Roho ya Afrika inaishi katika kila hadithi tunayosimulia.
Each new day is a gift, a reminder to pause, to breathe, and to give thanks. for the laughter we share and the journeys we take and the stories that shape who we are.
Cada nascer do sol, lembre-te algo pelo qual ser grato.
La vie est un voyage, parcourons-la avec gratitude.
Channel Africa. Celebrate the beauty of life with gratitude for the voices, the rhythms, and the dreams that unite us all. This is Africa with Channel Africa, the African perspective. The Upside, taking the African perspective to fresh levels.
23 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. Now, few moments in our nation's history, South Africa's history, left us shaken, uncertain, and outraged as the assassination of Chris Hani in 1993. And yet, decades later, the full truth remains clouded by silent speculation and selective memory. And our guest this afternoon, retired High Court Judge Chris Nicholson, joins us to discuss his book. It's titled "Who Really Killed Chris Hani?" A work that dares to challenge the accepted narrative and ask the hardest questions about betrayal, democracy, and buried truths in post-apartheid South Africa. Chris, let's talk about the research that you would have had to then undergo during that time of writing this book. Who did you engage? Because if you are creating or saying that the narrative that's been portrayed to us in the public is completely different to what you have been finding through the research and as you're writing the book, who are those people, entities that you were engaging as you were researching and putting this book together?
Well, I engaged in as much research as I possibly could, and I found papers that were hidden away in the South African History Archive in Johannesburg, and any source that I could possibly find and any person that I could interview, I did interview. And one of my objectives was to, one must recall that Janusz Wallus and Clive Derby-Lewis applied for amnesty from the TRC, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and were refused on the basis that they hadn't divulged who were the string pullers. And so at the time they applied to the TRC, there was a researcher called Christelle Terblanche, and she was given a file which had 12 documents in them. And none of the documents apparently referred to Chris Hani at all, but they referred to the murders of Patrice Lumumba in the Congo and the Secretary General of the United Nations, Dag Hammarskjöld. Now, and these documents were under a letterhead of the South African Institute of Maritime Research. So that fascinated me because in the end, I discovered that Janusz Wallus was a member of the secretive outfit, the South African, this body that I made mention of. And the further I investigated this Institute of Maritime Research, the more I became convinced that it was actually a front company for British intelligence. Now, one would wonder why would they want to get rid of Chris Hani? Now, if British intelligence main task is to protect British investment in South Africa and the CIA, obviously, to protect American investment, they would be very anxious to see that if any of British or American investment in South Africa is in jeopardy because this socialist, this Freedom Charter advocate, Chris Hani, is going to redistribute the wealth so that the dividends and the wealth is not going to pour back to Great Britain. It's going to be redistributed amongst the poor of South Africa. So they clearly had a motive to kill Chris Hani. And I found these organizations were linked not only to, Patrice Lumumba. I don't know if you know that he was the first democratically elected prime minister or president of the Congo. Dag Hammarskjöld was trying to bring peace in the Congo and redistribute the wealth. So I also looked at other killings, including Bernd Carlson and Anton Lubowski and Olaf Palme, and they all seem to be linked in the sense that They were people who were trying to help Africa's poor get a hold of Africa's wealth. So there seem to be patterns here. And of course, the interesting part of the pattern was that Janusz Wallusz was a member of this organization that seemed to have arranged a lot of the killings that I've mentioned.
I think that is incredibly enthralling because you bring up some other high profile murders, Chris, that happened over I would say what, a 30-year period, because you take it all the way back to the Congo and the murders that happened there. And what I'm getting a sense of is just how big you are interrogating the story from a judicial fashion, of course, in your capacity as a human rights lawyer. But, you know, in terms of how you tell the story, let's talk about just the network of high profile murders as we've seen it in the past, but the connection between Chris Hani's assassination and other political murders that we are seeing perhaps in this day and age. Is there a connection there that we can or that you've perhaps interrogated in the book as well?
Well, you know, this organization, the Institute of Maritime Research, being a front company for British intelligence, it was then trying to protect British investments and companies in these various countries. So the pattern is that this is the last murder in a series of ones, and like 90% of the murders occurred at the time of independence, you know, when political power was handed over, but the corporate, the captains of industry, they didn't want corporate power, they didn't want economic power to be handed over. So they were happy for, you know, Africans to dominate the political scene, but the corporate or the economic wealth was still to remain in the hands of the whites. You know, South Africa has the greatest resource wealth in the world. It's far ahead of Russia, who comes second, and yet we have the worst Gini coefficient. You know, this is a measure of the gap between rich and poor. So we still have a situation where two families own half the wealth of the country, 10% own 90% of the wealth, and we have disturbing statistics of 63% of South Africa who are, you know, going to bed hungry, who don't have a full stomach when they go to bed. So it seems to me that Chris Hani was trying to remedy, and the other people I mentioned, trying to remedy that situation. In other words, try and drag the money away from the corporates, the plunder by the corporates, and get it redistributed to, you know, to the people. So there is that pattern, and in law, there is a doctrine called similar fact evidence, where you can, if there's a pattern emerging in deaths, you can draw a conclusion that they are linked because the same factors seem to be involved.
Okay.
Chris, this is a must read. Where can we find it? Am I correct in assuming that we can check out your website first, chrisnicholson.co.za? Where else can we find the book outside of that?
Well, all good bookshops, exclusive books, and various bookshops do have the book, and it's obviously on my website at a fairly cheap price, I'm hoping. But you're right. It's you know, I've tried to write it like a detective story. It is fairly voluminous, but I tried to write it in a way that you go from fact to fact and in the end try to decide if, you know, if you agree with my contention. There is just another dimension, and that is the rivals in the ANC. You know, after Nelson Mandela left, there was going to be a lot of jockeying for the position of the next president of South Africa. And Thabo Mbeki and Chris Hani were very, very keen rivals for that position. So there is a part of the book which deals with what Afrikaner ex-intelligence writers have, once they rode into the sunset, what I call the brandy and coke biographies. You know, they have linked factions within the ANC with the death of Chris Hani, because they investigate very thoroughly why, for example, there were no security guards on duty. That it was an Easter Saturday, the Saturday between Good Friday and Good, and Sunday, So there were no security guards to protect him. And from these messages that I've unearthed from various Afrikaans biographies by these ex-intelligence agencies, that the messages arranging for his security guards not to be there are apparent. So there are these dimensions which I found fascinating, and I really think South Africans should be told about.
Chris, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. It's a book that we need to read, especially as South Africans. Who Really Killed Chris Hani? Go to chrisnicholson.co.za and get your book there. It's 33 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. Let's get the latest sports with Lekhuleni.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
We kick off with football news. Super Eagles head coach Eric Chelle is set to meet with the Nigerian Football Federation Technical Committee this week to finalize the list of invited players and conclude preparations ahead of the 2026 World Cup African Playoff. Nigeria will take on Gabon in the first semi-final of the playoff on the 30th of November. A win will see the Super Eagles face the winner between Cameroon and DR Congo in the decisive final encounter slated for the 16th of November. An NFF official confirmed that preparations began immediately after Nigeria's final Group C qualifier against the Benin Republic, emphasizing the federation's determination to secure a World Cup ticket. The Super Eagles are scheduled to assemble in Morocco on the 9th of November, while an advance party will arrive earlier to put final logistics in place. In an unprecedented turn of events, the Comrades Marathon 2026 sold out in less than 10 hours, leaving many eager runners heartbroken and scrambling for answers. Alain Delay, the general manager of the Comrades Marathon, shed light on this marathon phenomenon and discussed the future opportunities for hopeful participants. Next year's race takes place on Sunday, the 14th of June. In rugby news, Springbok assistant coach Felix Jones tried hard to give South Africa's next match on their end-of-the-year tour against France any more je ne sais quoi that it already has. Felix Jones was quick to pump the brakes on talking up what could be a contender for the match of autumn internationals at the very least.
I wouldn't say any single test match is bigger than another one. There's been some big games for us this year in that we played against New Zealand. We've lost a test match against Australia at home. We also have Italy after this game, Ireland later, and Wales later in this series as well. So for us, every test match is massive. Every time we're representing South Africa, it's huge. But I can understand the extra attention that perhaps this match gets because of the quarterfinal in 2023. I can understand the extra attention.
For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Lekhuleni.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Kapele Mutachu tunaelezwa kwamba waziri wa zamani wa polisi Mbekisele ameanza kutoa ushahidi wake mbele ya kamati ya bunge. Pengine namna ambavyo anaelezea na kutoa ushahidi wake, hii ikoje na imekaje? Hali hii ambavyo ilivyo hivi sasa inaleta picha gani kwa raia wa Afrika Kusini?
Hii hali inaleta picha nzuri, kwanza inaonyesha kama usalama wa nchi hauko kwenye njia nzuri. Wakati wale wenyewe wanapewa nafasi ya kufanya ulinzi wa nchi na ulinzi wa raia, wanakwenda kukamatwa na wenyewe kuwa miongoni ya watu wenyewe wanakwenda tena kuziwia wala kuprotect maalifu. Inaleta hali mbaya ndani ya nchi kuhusu usalama kwanza wa nchi peke yake, usalama wa raia.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
37 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. Let's get the latest business news. Nosipo Zuma is standing by.
Business news on on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Good afternoon. In your business news this hour, the United Kingdom has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting South Africa's digital transformation and innovation drive. Now, speaking at the UKSA SMME Forum at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange in Sandton, His Majesty's Trade Commissioner for Africa, John Humphrey, said the UK government stands firmly behind South Africa's efforts to advance digital technology, promote fintech innovation and boost township industrialization. Humphrey emphasized that these initiatives align with the UK strategic goals.
We support South Africa's efforts to advance digital transformation, promote fintech innovation, and support township industrialization. These initiatives align closely with the UK's strategic goals, and we're committed to promoting them through trade, investment, and collaborative policy dialogue.
AI-powered fintech firm Opstasia has officially joined South Africa's Johannesburg Stock Exchange in a move that supports wider access to financial services. It's the biggest fintech listing since 2018 and the largest of its kind on the JSE. The company uses artificial intelligence to help people who do not have access to traditional banking to get small loans and airtime credit. The JSE's Director of Capital Market, Valdine Reddy, has welcomed the listing, describing it as a boost for financial inclusion.
Every month. So this is really financial inclusion through a fintech play. As the JSE, we are so excited to welcome an African company, and we believe we have a lot to showcase for them to enable their growth in their next chapter of success. We have deep and liquid capital markets, so to see this momentum of this listing in our market is really a huge milestone.
Morocco's unemployment rate has dropped to 13.1% in September from 13.6% a year earlier as services, construction and industry offset jobs lost in the drought-hit farming sector. In its quarterly note, Morocco's Statistics Agency of High Commission for Planning, which is HCP, also highlighted that as of the end of September, there were 1.62 million unemployed people in Morocco, a nation of 37 million people. The unemployment rate was higher among young people at 38.4%. Among graduates, it stood at 19% and 21.6% among women. Shipping rates for liquefied natural gas have hit multi-month highs on tighter vessel availability, delayed cargo deliveries to Egypt and rising demand ahead of winter. The price gains amplify competition for available LNG carriers, reversing the trend of lackluster shipping rates seen for much of this year. Now prices tumbled for 5-year lows in February as fleet additions outpaced demand, though they jumped to an 8-month top in June on tighter vessel supply, and as the Israeli-Iran conflict led ship owners to hold off chartering vessels. A report released by the Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries, CZI, has revealed that the country's annual inflation rate could halve from current levels by the end of 2025, driven by a stable local currency supported by high gold prices. Annual inflation in Zimbabwe, measured in the ZiG currency, fell sharply to 32.2% in October from 82.7% in September. The CZI expects inflation to decline further, potentially reaching between 15% and 20% by December 2025. Now, this projection is attributed to negative month-on-month inflation in recent months and a stable ZiG currency bolstered by surging gold prices. Your financial indicators: one US dollar in Nigeria is trading at 1,436 naira, and Botswana is 13 bula 70. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 20, and in Zambia it's 22 kwacha 08. The BRICS countries: $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 rupee 38. Russia is 79 rubles 55. India is 80 rupees 80, China at 7 yuan 12, and in South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 31. $1 is trading at looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,993 and platinum at $1,557 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $64.09 a barrel. Now, for any business news stories you would like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I'm Mosito.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Got something to say? Are you passionate about issues that matter? Do you have a voice that deserves to be heard? Well, we've got the perfect platform for you. Call in or drop us a WhatsApp on +27 63 406 9126 and we will call you back so you could have your say and be part of the conversation.
30 years of age. I just turned 30 on the 15th of November. So that's who I am,
It's not just talk, it's your chance to air your views. Share your opinion. Engage with the community that values your perspective. Follow us on our social media. Visit our website at www.channelafrica.co.za and get ready to share your views on Channel Africa, the African perspective. The sound of Africa is evolving. Experience our new mobile app. Free to download, free to connect.
I don't wanna cheat on you. Everyday temptation, baby, I just wanna kiss on you. I just wanna kiss on you. I don't wanna cheat on you. Everyday temptation, baby, I just wanna spend on you. Come here, make I spend on you. Oh no, don't let me cheat on my woman, no. I try, say I try. Don't let me cheat on my woman, no. I try, yeah. Look at that face, look at that bonbon, look at that waist. What a bonbon, baby, my taste. What a bonbon, baby, my taste. Look at that face, look at that bonbon, look at that waist. What a bonbon, baby, my taste. What a bonbon, baby, my taste. It's amazing. Telling me what a man go do. Everybody want a piece of me. Telling me what a man go do. It's amazing. Telling me what a man go do. Everybody want a piece of me. Telling me what a man go do.
Say you love me, scatter. I know you see this back and I will make you never want another woman. Cause I'll be crossing the border. Give me my love on a platter. What I'm in chair, made energy. Now, whoop, say what the mayor and Jammy. Oh, Biana, miss your media. Kumadico, Dabena, Obeba. Donna, Dabena, Obeba. Dabena, Obeba. Donna, Dabena,
look at that face, look at that bonbon, look at that waist. What a bonbon, baby, my taste. What a bonbon, baby, my taste. Look at that face, look at that bonbon, look at that waist. What a bonbon, baby, my taste. What a bonbon, baby, my taste. I can't know on Intina, yeah, me shade me. Yeah, na makademi. Oh, I can't know on Intina, mubana misye. Lord, I love my woman. I love my woman. I don't want to look another woman. Oh, I love my baby. Oh, my woman. I love my woman. I don't want to look another woman. Oh, I love my baby. Look at that face. Look at that bonbon. Look at that waist. What a bonbon, baby, my taste. What a bonbon, baby, my taste.
Africa, your voice, your sound, and your home. Stay logged right here. Tebogo and Mmatsheko from the upside.
I've been off it, give you the loving you want. I did for streets, if man no get money now, eh. And I know you need someone to cuddle, Lord. When I go leave you, come out. I cannot be that girl. Oh. Getting many since they worry my inner way. I got to shit. Love forgive me, I'm a sinner. Oh. As I hustle, made the goodie just to enter in the abundance. Figure Germany and Italo. Steady on the road, I think I like go where they rap at it. Oh, the naka, you go there, okay. I know they heartless, so Cara, I just want to. So I feel love you, make your body cool, but for real, let's go. Cara, no one make you. I just want love you, make your body cool. Cara, you, Cara, you, just want to Cara. Lue, it's evidence, I don't get choice. I got to get me the daily target, but if you go wait, I give you access. To all me quality love, to get plenty money, child. Not just simple condition. A girl's got to hustle. Oh. Getting many since they worry my inner way. I got to shit. Love forgive me, I'm a sinner. Oh. As I hustle, make the goodie just to enter in the abundance. Figure Germany and Italo. Steady on the road, I think I like go where they rap at it. Oh, the naka, you go there, okay. I know they heartless, so Cara, I just want to. So I feel love you, make your body cool, but for real, let's go. Cara, no one make you. I just want love you, make your body cool. Cara, you.
10 minutes to go till it is 3 p.m. in Central African time in a double play with Gara, the title of the song by Tiwa Savage and Ira Star. Cheat on You by Kitty and Jackie before that one. Welcome to the Upside, dear Upsider. We are about to enter the final hour of the show, but I think it's that time, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. What caught your eye time? So we're going to take a quick breather. When we get back, it's time for What Caught Your Eye. And listen, you're more than welcome to chime in on What Caught Your Eye and drop a comment below on what caught your eye on our social media platform at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. Don't go anywhere.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Kapele Mutachi tunaelezwa kwamba waziri wa zamani wa polisi Mbekisele ameanza kutoa ushahidi wake mbele ya kamati ya bunge. Pengine namna ambavyo anaelezea na kutoa ushahidi wake. Hii ikoje na imekaje? Hali hii ambavyo ilivyo hivi sasa inaleta picha gani kwa raia wa Afrika Kusini?
Hii hali inaleta picha nzuri kwanza, inaonyesha kama usalama wa nchi hauko kwenye njia nzuri. Wakati wale wenyewe wanapewa nafasi ya kufanya ulinzi wa nchi na ulinzi wa raia, wanakwenda kukamatwa na wenyewe kuwa miongoni ya watu wenyewe wanakwenda tena kuziwia wala kuprotect maalifu. Inaleta hali mbaya ndani ya nchi kuhusu usalama kwanza wa nchi peke yake, usalama wa raia.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
This is
Channel Africa.
Tebogo and Mmatsheko from the upside.
9 minutes before 3 p.m. Central African time. Mmatsheko Mosito, why are you laughing?
No, I'm not laughing. I'm smiling because I heard Channel Africa.
Is that you in that choir?
Never, no. Not in a million years.
It's time for What Caught Your Eye. In this day and age, you know, we often say that there are certain things that it just doesn't make sense, does it? Being persecuted for your faith. Seeing it in different scales, different parts of the world, you can't freely exercise your right to be a believer of a certain faith, of a certain religion, without being persecuted. You know, we fight so many battles in this world. Hungry children, unemployment, corruption. How you get persecuted for your faith? See, in Nigeria, there are deadly attacks on Christian villages which have reignited, to be precise, global outrage, with reports of families being burnt alive and entire communities being wiped out. US President Donald Trump has now waded in, accusing Nigeria's government of allowing a mass slaughter of Christians, threatening to cut US aid and even hinting at military action. This is what he said on X. He had said that radical Islamists are responsible for this mass slaughter. I am hereby making Nigeria a country of particular concern. But that is the least of it. And then he goes on to say, when Christians or any such group is slaughtered, in Nigeria, 3,100 people being slaughtered versus worldwide 4,476. These are his numbers. Something must be done. I am asking Congressman Riley Moore, together with Chairman Tom Cole and the House of Appropriations Committee, to immediately look into this matter. Report back to me. The United States cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria and numerous other countries. We stand ready, willing, and able to save our great Christian population around the world. Nigeria hit back, responded, and they said, saying that the violence is complex, it's not purely religious, and that Muslims have suffered too. The violence is complex. It says that while the Christian communities have been heavily affected, analysts have cautioned that the violence is not always purely religious in motive. Many attacks stem from a mix of insurgency, terrorism, herder-farmer conflicts, criminality, and local communal clashes. Is Donald Trump overstepping here in saying that, as a world leader, in saying that he wants to intervene in Nigeria, or is he overstepping into African affairs, as they often do sometimes? World leaders step into spaces that they should not. Is this the reality that is actually happening in Nigeria? Or again, Donald Trump is stepping into spaces where he should, just like we're still waiting for this the farm murders in South Africa, and how people are dying. It's a horrible place to be in, apparently, in South Africa. But these were Donald Trump's words. So what do we think about this one?
It's complex.
It's complex.
It's really just very complex. I don't even want to get into it. I think anything on religious territory, and as I heard you read, I think it's an article, I would assume, the mention of the fact that it's not just about religion.
It's not just, yeah.
Yeah, it would be wonderful to really investigate what is happening in those villages and what is fueling the violence, as it is noted in public discourse in that manner. It's fascinating, though, especially in this day and age, to see power dynamics play out in this manner. So
let us know what is actually happening on the ground. If you're from Nigeria, perhaps you're closer to the story than we are. Is what we're reading the real thing? Are Christian families or Christian villages being persecuted right now? I was looking at which country, if you're a Christian, which country you possibly shouldn't be visiting. I know it's a weird thing, but I was looking at North Korea has consistently ranked the most dangerous country in the world to be a Christian. North Korea. Pakistan is listed among the top countries where Christians face very high persecution levels. Sudan and Yemen are also on the list as the most dangerous countries for Christians. So it's very interesting that, again, in this day and age, you're being persecuted for your faith, for your religion. But the Nigerian story in particular, let us know on the ground what is actually happening. Is Donald Trump exaggerating the story? Or is Nigeria telling the truth when they're saying, no, it's a complex one. Yes, we are seeing these killings, but it's not how Donald Trump is painting it out. What caught your eye? Mmatsheko Mosito.
I want to start with a very painful quote. You know, when a parent speaks like this, it just breaks my heart. Even if I didn't know the dynamics or that were not put out publicly, it would still be very painful. So, one parent saying to the other, you know how many times I've tried to get a hold of you to try and get the boy? You know how many times your sister Gumete and your mother have been trying to talk about me meeting the boy to get the freedom of seeing the boy? I don't know you want to hold the boy and put him in a bottle so you can control him like AI. Stop making my child AI. It's not nice. It's not fair. Stop saying that I'm a deadbeat dad. That's not me. Those are the words of Joop Joop. Okay, so South Africans would know who this is. He is a very popular musician. He is very controversial, having spent many, many years in jail because he knocked over children on a very busy street in Protea, Soweto, the township of Soweto. So listen, he's paid his dues. You know, he went to jail, he served his time, he's out. He's still very controversial in his thoughts, and just some of the television shows he's involved in, and that sort of thing. So that's who Joop Joop is, and but also extremely talented as a musician. You've got to note that. Joop Joop and another very popular, very talented, amazing, feisty, dynamite in small package, Kelly Khumalo. They have a son together. And a lot of what's been happening between the two of them and their son Christian has been publicized around the fights. You know, Kelly Khumalo doesn't want me to see my child, and I've got the right to see the boy, and you're not giving me access to the child. So just to quote an article from the Times Live, I wouldn't want to take credit for this hardworking journalist, saying Joop Joop has pleaded with singer Kelly Khumalo, who shares a son with him, to stop portraying him as a deadbeat father. Over the years, Kelly has been adamant that she would not allow Joop Joop into Christian's life until he turns 18, saying the justice system is available for any father wanting to be in their child's life. On Sunday, Joop Joop took to his timeline, pleading with Kelly Khumalo to give him access to his son.
You took it to social media?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He did a whole video. I think there's footage that has been doing its rounds virally on social media, with him pleading with Kelly Khumalo to just stop this and give him access to the child. So where do we draw the line? You know, when does it stop? When should we deny access to one parent to see the child? Is the child endangered or in danger rather? You know, what are the circumstances? But it's always just so painful to see co-parenting situations, or ones that really don't exist, like the one that we're seeing playing out in the public. It makes me so sad for the children. Really just wanted to note that. You know, how do people do it? How are we supposed to co-parent? Because this really doesn't look like a very healthy dynamic.
Not at all. I mean, with so many dads who don't want to be actively involved in the child's life and choose to just step away,
right,
for him to say, I want to be a part, but I'm not being given access. Now you can actually go to court for that, and so that she can stop painting him out to be a deadbeat dad if he is coming to the party as he says he is. It's 1 minute after 3 p.m. Central African time. Let's get the latest news with Jolani Tulongwepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Top stories is how heavy security in Tanzania's commercial capital, Dar es Salaam, and former US Vice President Dick Cheney has died. Good afternoon. There is heavy security in Tanzania's commercial capital, Dar es Salaam, after the authorities eased a curfew imposed to contain post-election unrest. President Samia Suluhu Hassan began her second term yesterday. The opposition says the election was a sham and accuses the Tanzanian security services of killing hundreds of protesters protesters. Tabiso Luhoko has the story.
The government has played down the violence. They say those figures are exaggerated, that they were dealing with the pockets of criminality, that their response was reasonable and necessary. But how this plays out will be important for President Samia's legitimacy, especially as the protesters were demanding political reforms. They were demanding more political space, and regional election monitors have given it the thumbs down. They've said there were intimidation, there was censorship, there was a lack of opposition, and that many Tanzanians were not able to express their democratic will.
South Africa's Deputy Police Minister, Dr. Pholi Bushielo, says she believes Parliament's ad hoc committee could assist in resetting the country's police service to, among others, improve service delivery and to eradicate corruption. She's appearing before the committee investigating allegations of criminal infiltration, corruption and political interference in the justice system. These allegations were made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Ndandla Mkhwanazi in July this year. In her closing remarks of her Evidence-in-Chief, Bushielo told the committee that she values the process of the committee, that it could restore the public's trust in SAPS again.
Trust will be built on 3 pillars. The first one being the pillar of lawful process. And also the second one, the pillar of internal accountability, where decisions are made transparently, utilizing the full capacity of deputy ministers. And the third one, the pillar of external oversight, where bodies like the IPIT and Parliament itself are empowered to hold the police accountable.
Sudan's military government is meeting to discuss the security situation. This after the paramilitary rapid support forces captured Al-Fasher, the army's last stronghold in the Darfur region. The talks coincide with a warning from the International Criminal Court that atrocities reported in Al-Fasher could amount to war crimes and crimes against humanity. An archaeological discovery in northwest Kenya has suggested that the ability to invent and pass on technologies to survive may have been innate to the very first humans. Researchers found that the primitive humans who lived nearly 3 million years ago used stone tools continuously for 300 years. The BBC's Palab Ghosh has the details.
Until now, the evidence has been that early on, human tool use may have been sporadic, randomly developed and quickly forgotten. The discovery, however, of stone tools at different archaeological layers is the first to show that the technology was passed down through thousands of generations. The researchers say it provides strong evidence for a radical shake-up in our understanding of human evolution. The evidence of stone tools at the site shows that for a long and continuous period, these early humans found a way of controlling the world around them rather than letting the world control them.
And former U.S. Vice President Dick Cheney has died. The 46th Vice President was 84 years. Cheney lost his life due to complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease. His wife of 61 years, Lynn, his daughters Liz and Mary, and other family friends were with him as he passed. Kaeli Lekhuleni has the story.
As Vice President from 2001 to 2009, Cheney fought for the expansion of the power of the presidency. He was a strong advocate for the 2003 invasion of Iraq and was among the most outspoken of Bush administration officials, warning of the danger from Iraq's alleged stockpile of weapons of mass destruction. His family says he was a great man who taught his children and grandchildren to love his country and to live with courage, honor and kindness.
Recapping the top story this hour, there is heavy security in Tanzania's commercial capital, Dar es Salaam, after the authorities eased a curfew imposed to contain post-election unrest. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Mwepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
7 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time. It's the final hour of The Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, the African perspective, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. We're still coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Happy Tuesday to you and yours. Thank you so much for tuning in. Catch us live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok, and download our brand new Channel Africa app. Go to your Play Store on your Android or your iOS device and search Channel Africa, download it and take us with you wherever you go. Interesting conversation coming up. One that earlier I said I had never really bought an anthology. Personally, a collection of poetries and stories. I don't think I've personally bought, but maybe this one will be my first one.
Perhaps it should be, because it's written by a woman who comes from, can I just say, the Matsunyane family here in South Africa
Talented, that one.
are just a tribe and a clan of artists of the finest quality, from Neo Matsunyane, who has worked for many decades in the space of film and television, writing, research, etc. And Momo Matsunyane is who we're going to be speaking to. Yeah. And she is an award-winning playwright, actor, director, and she is stepping into the literary space where we see her launching her first book, Plays at the Ramolao Makhene Theatre in Newtown. This is an anthology, as you mentioned it, that brings together 3 of her acclaimed works. Libizo la Moya being one of them, Unlearn and Penny. So we're going to talk to her about that. We're going to talk to her about writing, and also I think that there's a significance with hosting this at the Ramolao Makhene Theatre in Newtown, because that name as well, the late Ramolao, is one of the greatest actors in South African history. And these are the people that we need to write into history as very important in how stories need to be told. That stories need to be told, especially Black stories. And with us in this time where we're able to take our narratives back, people like Ramolao Makhene have really trained so many other fine artists, that have done the work. Fine as in really amazing, in terms of stage, acting and storytelling and that sort of thing. Teaching them to come onto a space with energy, teaching them how to reference their environments and all of that. The Moshidi Motsagwas of this world will tell you that Ramolao Makhene was the one. So I think there's a significance there. So very excited to speak to Momo Matsunyane, who's going to tell us about stepping into writing, what that journey was like, and this wonderful anthology that she's put together.
All right, that conversation is coming up next. It's 11 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time.
Where Africa's voices rise, with stories that matter, we lead the conversation.
Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Ukatili wa kijinsia unaharibu maisha na kutenga jamii. Hutokea nyumbani, shuleni, kazini na mara nyingi kwa ukimya. Lakini hauwezi kuendelea. Ukiona, ongea. Ikiwa unaumia, funguka, kwa sababu kutofanya lolote sio chaguo. Sikiliza vituo vyote 19 vya redio kuanzia Jumatano ya tarehe 23 Julai kwenye mijadala, ushauri, tamthilia, maonyesho ya elimu na mahojiano na wataalamu, manusura, watunga sheria na nchi nzima iliyoathirika na ukatili wa kijinsia kwenye vituo vyako pendwa vya redio. Piga simu 0800-428-428 ili kuripoti unyanyasaji au kupata msaada. GBV, ikomeshwe na wewe. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na shirika la SABC.
Tebogo and Mmatsheko from the upside.
Any money where I get, I dey flex, I dey ball, I dey vest, I dey shop, Patek, Chasey fly ball in the jet. My baby, my pet, she na pussycat. See back, see the yansh. Free pass, maybe that. She go wine and well when she see the cash. Cash, 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 go go cash, cash. She go wine and well when she see the cash. Go go,
Clock is nice and synchronized, 15:15 on the digital clock in Central African time. Thank you very much for tuning in to The Upside, exclusive to Channel Africa. Coming through with Mr. Easy featuring Joey B. Patek, the title of the song coming through, as we talk award-winning playwright works, making it into a book. You know, it really excites me the time that we're in with Black women coming through and writing and documenting personal stories, documenting their works, putting them in the book, like Momo Matsunyane, whom we're going to be speaking to, writing about, psychologists, Black psychologists, female psychologists, writing about, stories for children and that sort of thing. It's such an exciting time to be artistic and to be a writer and to just be spreading the good news.
Absolutely. Listen, from center stage to center page, Momo Matsunyane has done it all. Known for her sharp wit, her raw honesty and powerful presence as a playwright, actor and director, she now enters a new chapter as an author. Her debut book, simply titled Plays by Momo Matsunyane Volume 1, brings together three of her most acclaimed works, Kalibitso La Moya, Unlearn and Penny. Each one carries her signature mix of biting humor and emotional truth, whether tackling abuse in sacred spaces or the tangled web of mental health and motherhood. Momo's work doesn't just entertain, it integrates. She now joins us on the line to talk stories, stages, and the soul-biting, or the soul behind the scripts. Momo, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to The Upside. Congratulations. How does it feel?
Yay!
How does it feel having your three plays live on print or live on in print form. Was this always part of the plan?
Sure.
Or was this sort of like one of those natural next steps?
Oh my goodness. Firstly, thank you so much for having me. It was absolutely not in the plan at all. I really began writing as a way of creating work for myself as an independent theatre maker, whilst attending auditions for television and really not booking anything. And really decided that instead of waiting around to be cast in something, let me write myself roles. And so that's how my playwriting journey began. And I've always just written about things that I know most. And so the first play I ever wrote, Penny, which was about a young actor in the industry struggling to find her feet. And then I wrote Learn, and then I wrote Kalibitso La Moya. And Learn is about a young stand-up comedian who's navigating and living with depression and anxiety. And then Kalibitso La Moya, I wrote after watching a documentary on spiritual leaders and the kind of sexual abuse that takes place in those spaces. And so I never envisioned that I would write them, but here we are. And so after winning the Standard Bank Young Artist Award for theatre, and after producing the show with the National Arts Festival as well as Standard Bank Arts, with the other portion of the money that I received, I decided what better way than to just cement these books and make them live forever. It's a very exciting chapter. I'm often asked by younger artists to lend them scripts or copies of my work. And so now they can just buy the book.
Just buy the book. You know what? Like, I enjoy your energy so much because as soon as Tebogo was done, you just said, yay! Because that is the spirit. That's the spirit. We've got to celebrate ourselves before we wait for others to celebrate us. So I really enjoyed that moment. But also, Momo, you've done so much work and you are an award-winning, stage actor. You've done so, and you come from a lineage of artists and creatives and storytellers. Talk to us about, I'm very, and because I really love your mind. Talk to me about how you were able to kind of take these stories and put them in story in this manner, because also artists are very precious about their work, and putting it out there means you putting it out for criticism or for people to have opinions on it, or for it to shape, from a positive perspective, to shape people's lives. And that can be also incredibly validating, but also scary. So in you putting together Kalibitso La Moya and Learn and Penny, what was the mindset for you where you're like, you know what, this is important? This is the journey I'm walking, and I want to find my soul tribe so that we can enjoy these stories together.
You're very right. As an artist, there is a hesitance towards sharing your work with other people, even as you're creating it, and we all know, particularly, let's say when you're making a piece of theater as a director, it's important to the process to be able to bring other people inside the process so they can give you feedback before you officially open in front of an audience, right? And so there's obviously a lot of value in having those kind of relationships with your work, with people that you trust and whose eye and critique you trust, right? But now, and on a more simplistic level, once the audience is there, it's no longer technically yours, right? And so how they decode it and leave with it is completely up to them. But now to have it in a kind of, I guess, what we call like a finite form, and something that can be presented and bought and studied in a private space where you have no control of how people are going to receive it, it is nerve-wracking. And I was very nervous, and I shared this with my publisher, in confidence, to say, I'm really nervous now because there will be a certain level of scrutiny from the page, and the page is very different from the stage, right?
Yes.
And he said to me, look, essentially what you're doing is contributing to a much larger project, and that is the archiving of Black theater practitioners in the country. As it is, as a Black female, there aren't a lot of female playwrights whose work is published. And very often when we find that we want to do works by, let's say, the late Bra Gibson Kente, it's incredibly difficult to find even a copy of the script because the works weren't published. And the man, he really wrote over maybe 15 plays, and none of these plays are accessible to us, even at like a national library or something. So
I figured, I mean, scrutiny is a part of the work, right?
Right.
But the fact that there's so much interest around my work, even in a academic space like tertiary level, what better way than to just make the work accessible? And of course, it is about the critique that is going to come around the book. It is important that people engage with it, and it's not about me being a pleaser of some kind, but
Right.
really just providing a different perspective on experiences that maybe people globally have all shared and experienced. And this is just my interpretation of the world.
It's 23 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. Let's take a quick breather. When we get back, we continue hanging out with Mmatsheko.
Call us on +27 63 406 9126 and contribute to the conversation.
Madapiri pazoshitika. Madapiri pazoshitika.
Ainogeka zingeni chihana lumbiritsidwa kukhala wachiwiri kwa mtsogoleri wa dziko la Malawi pa mwambo omwe unachitika ku nyumba ya chifumu ya Sanjika mu mzinda wa Blantyre. Ndiye pano tili ndi olemekezeka achihana takulandirani olemekezeka pano pa wireless ya Channel Africa pa Chinyanja Service. Amalawi ayembekezere zotani kuchokera kwa inu ngati wachiwiri inaso kwa president wa dzikolo?
Choyamba ngati vice president umagwira ntchito yopatsidwa ndi president imene yakuganizira, ndiye malowozi athu atipatsa bwinobwino, koma ntchito yathu yayikulu ndi kuwathandiza president kuti masomphenya awo yakwanitsidwe. Pali zambiri zoti zichitike, nkhani ya njala mdziko muno, boma la udakali chimanga ndi china chomwe chili mdziko muno kuti tithandize families are affected. Chachiwiri kunali ma fuel shortages amene akanaliponso apo ndi apo, tionetsetse kuti pumps athu asakhale dry.
Zochitika pa nthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo, lolemba mpaka lachisanu ndi Madapiri.
The Upside, taking the African perspective to fresh levels.
24 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. We're currently in conversation with Mmatsheko as she has debuted her book. It's titled Plays by Mmatsheko, Volume 1, where she's bringing together 3 of her acclaimed works, stage productions: Kalibitso la Moya, Unlearn, and Penny. Momo, let's talk about, the 2 different spaces, because staging and performing your own work must be a different feeling to publishing it. Where did some of those challenges come in translating these performances into something that we can read on a page?
So, already from the drafts that I brought into the rehearsal space, work happens on the script in process. And so by the time you get to the performed script, it's very different from what is on the page, right?
Yeah.
And that's also influenced by, for example, directorial choices. To then now take these works and revisit them as pieces of writing and not performed pieces was quite challenging. I had to really sometimes watch the old, footage of the performances to make sure that I'm not missing anything that was really valuable or something that we found whilst working with the performance that I feel like influenced the story and the storytelling in a big way.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose that. And so I had to watch over some of the footage and then edit it back into my notes. And then I sent them to the publisher, and the publisher then gave me feedback on each document. And I went through each line, each page, kind of really fixing and editing and making sure that the story made sense. Because sometimes, like I say, there were things I changed on the floor. And then as I look back in the script, I'm like, oh no, I never wrote that because that happened as we were rehearsing the play. And so remembering to, bring in all those aspects, tracking which version of the play you felt was the most successful. Because, right, plays grow the more we do them.
Yeah.
Because there are more opportunities of seeing things differently. And so it was quite challenging putting all of this together. At the same time, I was not in the country. I was directing a show in Austria. And so to split my time between working on these 2 things, these very big projects. It was very, very challenging. But fortunately, I have such a supportive team. My publisher, my co-producer were really, really generous and really provided a safe space for me to be vulnerable, because the challenge is the first time that I'm experiencing something like this. And then a co-writer, Nondumiso Msimanga, who is a writer in her own, regard. She's a master's student, a provocateur and performance artist. And I asked her to write the introduction to my book, which really frames it in a beautiful academic way and makes the reader understand more of the themes and the world in which I'm trying to create through the book.
Man, this is so exciting, really exciting. And it's very obvious that you are really trying to reclaim space for South African storytelling through our own lens as Black people.
Yes.
Bring our own
Yes.
energy into our experiences, which is so important. I think it's also so significant that you're launching this book of plays at the Ramalawa Makhene Theatre in Newtown. He's been very significant in shaping artists like yourself, in shaping artists like Mmatsheko and other amazing theatre actors of your caliber. Talk to me about perhaps his influence maybe in how you view theatre works.
Absolutely. I think Ntate Ramolao Makhene was so significant in being a part of a huge voice artistically at a time when the country politically was in turmoil. Really, along with many other Black artists, people came together and wrote plays that really contributed to the liberation of the people of this country. And so that's why today it is shocking to see just how little value is being placed on the importance of art as a tool for social change, but really it is that generation that influenced and impacted us. My father was fortunate enough to have worked with him over the years before his passing. And the Market Theatre Laboratory really represents a space for the not so privileged child in this country who wants to have an opportunity to study drama. And so they have access to music and theater and storytelling, and they're taught by some of the best practitioners in the country. And so this institution really represents an opportune space for young people to be able to play and explore and discover themselves and their voices as artists. And so to have had the book launch happen here at the Market, and for all my 3 plays to be playing here, is such a significant moment for me as a practitioner. In theater, we're always talking about the theater gods and the spirits. It's almost like every time you get into a theater, you can feel some sort of ethereal spirit. And I'm genuinely convinced that like Ntate Makhene is in there going, yes, mwana, banke, because we are using the platform to tell our stories. And that's what the space was created for the child from the township, for the child who is growing up in a space that has been conditioned by a system that continues to oppress it, by a child that, for the Black child who has to come to town to at least try and scrape together their dreams and reimagine a different world for themselves through art, because art provides those possibilities of dreaming. And so it really is an honor. It does also, the book really pay homage to other township pioneers like Ntate Bragib, Ntate Selailo Maredi, and all those who really worked, particularly from the township and within the township space, to revolutionize Black storytelling.
Oh, man. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. But Momo, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. And we'll share the details of the upcoming performances at the Market Theatre, where your plays will be on stage from the 6th to the 9th of November. But congratulations on your book. And thank you so much for telling the African story. The voice of
Thank you so much for having me.
Love it. The voice of Momo Matsunyane. Catch her performance live at the Market Theatre from the 6th to the 9th of November, where she'll be bringing those plays to life, which I absolutely love. And you can find that book. It's titled Plays by Momo Matsunyane, Volume 1. It's 31 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time. Let's get the final sports update with Figile Lingwati.
We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628. Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Let's bet off with cricket news. Proteas women's record breaker Laura Volvart has been named as captain of the official ICC team of the tournament following her heroics at the ODI World Cup. Volvart topped the run scoring charts at the global tournament with 571 at an outstanding average of 71.37, the most ever at an ICC Women's World Cup, including majestic back-to-back centuries in the semi-final and the final. The South African skipper is joined in the team by teammates Marizanne Kapp and Nadine de Klerk, while new champions India also have 3 players, Smriti Mandana, Jemima Rodriguez and Deepti Sharma. Kapp takes her place in the side after another strong showing with bat and ball, scoring 2 half-centuries and taking 12 wickets. That tally featured career best figures of 5 for 20 against England in the semi-final, which helped her become the leading wicket taker in ICC Women's World Cup history. On to football news. The Super Eagles head coach Eric Chell is set to meet with the Nigerian Football Federation this week to finalize the list of invited players and conclude preparations ahead of the 2026 World Cup African Playoff. Nigeria will take on Gabon in the first semi-final of the playoff on the 30th of November. A win will see the Super Eagles face the winner between Cameroon and DR Congo in the decisive final encounter slated for the 16th of November. The Super Eagles are scheduled to assemble in Morocco on the 9th of November, while an advance party will arrive earlier to put final logistics in place. Now, rugby news. Springbok assistant coach Felix Jones tried hard to give or not to give South Africa's next match on their end of the year tour against France any more je ne sais quoi that it already has. The Boks are in Paris to face France in a rematch of the 2023 World Cup quarterfinal, which set the green and gold on their way to defending their World Cup title. Felix Jones was quick to pump the brakes on talking up what could be a contender for the match of autumn internationals at the very least.
I wouldn't say any single test match is bigger than another one. I mean, there's been some big games for us this year in that we played against New Zealand. We've lost a test match against Australia at home. We also have Italy after this game, Ireland later, and Wales later in this series as well. So for us, every test match is massive. Every time we're representing South Africa, it's huge. But I can understand the extra attention that perhaps this match gets because of the quarterfinal in 2023. I can understand the extra attention.
Let's end with marathon. In an unprecedented turn of events, the Comrades Marathon 2026 sold out in less than 10 hours, leaving many eager runners heartbroken and scrambling for answers. Alain Delay, the general manager of the Comrades Marathon, shed light on this marathon phenomenon and discussed the future opportunities for hopeful participants. With a cap of 22,000 entries for next year's 99th edition and an overwhelming demand, the race saw an unprecedented surge in early registration. Next year's race takes place on Sunday. That'll be the 14th of June. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Fidel Ngwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. With gratitude for the voices, the rhythm, and the dreams that unite us all.
Roho ya Afrika inaishi katika kila hadithi tunayosimulia.
Each new day is a gift, a reminder to pause, to breathe, and to give thanks for the laughter we share and the journeys we take and the stories that shape who we are.
Cada nascer do sol, que lembre que há algo pelo qual ser grato. La vie est un voyage, parcourons-la avec gratitude.
Channel Africa. Celebrate the beauty of life with gratitude for the voices, the rhythms, and the dreams that unite us all. This is Africa with Channel Africa, the African perspective.
36 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. Let's get the final business update this afternoon with Nosipho Zuma.
Business news on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Good afternoon. In your business news this hour, the United Kingdom has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting South Africa's digital transformation and innovation drive. Speaking at the UKSA SMME Forum at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange in Sandton, His Majesty's Trade Commissioner for Africa, John Humphrey, said the UK government stands firmly behind South Africa's efforts to advance digital technology, promote fintech innovation and boost township industrialization. Humphrey emphasized that these initiatives align with the UK strategic goals.
We support South Africa's efforts to advance digital transformation, promote fintech innovation, and support township industrialisation. These initiatives align closely with the UK's strategic goals, and we're committed to promoting them through trade, investment, and collaborative policy dialogue.
AI-powered fintech firm Optasia has officially joined South Africa's Johannesburg Stock Exchange in a move that supports wider access to financial services. It's the biggest fintech listing since 2018 and the largest of its kind on the JSE. The company uses artificial intelligence to help people who do not have access to traditional banking to get small loans and airtime credit. The JSE's Director of Capital Markets, Valdine Bedi, has welcomed the listing, describing it as a boost for financial inclusion.
Every month. So this is really financial inclusion through a fintech play. As the JSE, we are so excited to welcome an African company, and we believe we have a lot to showcase for them to enable their growth in their next chapter of success. We have deep and liquid capital markets, so to see this momentum of this listing in our market is really a huge milestone.
Scores of informal traders who have gathered at Jurison Place, Johannesburg, South Africa, have expressed frustration over the delayed start of the expedited verification and registration process for trading permits. Yesterday, the High Court in Johannesburg made a ruling that the City of Johannesburg must expedite the process of verifying and registering informal traders from today to the 18th of November. Now, this after Seri took the city to court last week over the forced removals of scores of hawkers. The city removed the street traders for violating bylaws, saying they operated without permits and in areas not designated for trading. Sanamia, a fish and chips trader, says she arrived at 6 a.m. to ensure that she is first in line. However, she is still waiting several hours later.
We are here today because of the court ruling of yesterday. Remember the date they said we must start today until the 18th. So we are still waiting because they were supposed to start at 9 o'clock. So now there's a lady who did come and address us to wait so that they can still prepare their things so that they will attend us on a later stage. So we're not sure at what time actually we're gonna be saved.
Morocco's unemployment rate has dropped to 13.1% in September from 13.6% a year earlier as services, construction and industry offset jobs lost in the drought-hit farming sector. In its quarterly note, Morocco's Statistics Agency of High Commission for Planning, HCP, has also highlighted that as of the end of September, there were 1.62 million unemployed people in Morocco, a nation of 37 million people. The unemployment rate was higher among young people at 38.4%. Now, among graduates, it stood at 19% and 21.6% among women. Shipping rates for liquefied natural gas have hit multi-month highs on tighter vessel availability, delayed cargo deliveries to Egypt and rising demand ahead of winter. The price gains amplify a competition for available LNG carriers, reversing the trend of lackluster shipping rates seen for much of this year. Prices tumbled for 5-year lows in February as fleet additions outpaced demand, though they jumped to an 8-month top in June on tighter vessel supply and as the Israel-Iran conflict led ship owners to hold off chartering vessels. Your financial indicators: one US dollar in Nigeria is trading at 1,436 naira. In Botswana is 13 bula 70. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 20, and in Zambia it's 22 kwacha 08. The BRICS countries: $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 ril 38. Russia is 79 rubles 55. India is 80 rupees 80. China it's 7 yuan 12. And in South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 31. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,993 and platinum at $1,547 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $64.09 a barrel. Now, for any business news stories you would like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I'm Mosito Suma.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Stay tuned to Channel Africa. Stream us on our new and updated website, channelafrica.co.za. Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine, weekdays 6 till 9.
The South African Medical Association, SAMA, has officially suspended all relations with the Israeli Medical Association, a move welcomed by healthcare workers for Palestine, South Africa. The organization says this decision represents a powerful stand for medical ethics, justice, and human rights, echoing the global call for solidarity with Palestinians.
And recently, we've also seen other national associations, such as the British Medical Association, Turkish. They've released quite strongly worded statements, although none have gone as far as SAMA to cut ties with the Israeli Medical Association, as well as to call for the suspension from the World Medical Association. It's a watershed moment that an organization has actually taken this step. And it's not an idle threat. SAMA is a member of the World Medical Association, and they can action this resolution by bringing it before the World Medical Association.
Dr. Sadiq Mullah, chairperson of Healthcare Workers for Palestine, South Africa.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine. The music you love. The music you love.
You're in my head, still can't explain.
On Channel Africa, the African perspective. No matter where you are, Channel Africa is always with you.
We ain't even got a track on it. I got many blessings, I could brag on it. I've been through the fire, I could talk on it. And I heard it on the street that they got love for me.
Oh, show Baba. Now Baba gonna make me come and swag on. Then they bad to me anytime when the song's on. Then they see it like they shining, then they run come.
Now you see, say we there on the city. I don't think that any one of you can step to titty. I just wanna sing the song. Break it down, oh yeah, shake it to the gong,
yeah. Baba God don't bless us. Now why we they talk this matter, eh? Some people want to pull me down, I still they walk, eh?
No be say them say, no they do like say you know no. No be say them say, my brother.
Oh yeah, Joe for me, I do bear for no. And but it's okay, I do bear for no. Oh yeah, go mole, I do bear for no. Jacka Jones okay. If I start to talk,
the thing where I don't take my eyes, see we no going. My brother, we no going. If I start to count, the thing where my back on it don't do it no going. My sister, we no going. If I start to talk, the thing where my back on it don't do it no going.
My sister,
we no going. If I start to count all the blessings my back on it keep me, we no going. My brother, I no going. Oh yeah, throw your hands up in the air for me. If you feel it, sing along, sing the song for me. You can pop anything, lift the bill for me. When the sun comes on, know your job for me.
No follow them, they complain. Make you know, forget, say, Baba God day. Every day is a good day. Holiday from Monday to Sunday.
Oya komole, oya kwesoke, oya patewo, show them problem no day. See my life today, blessings every day. And they shine so bright.
It dey make them they wonder why we they so composed. Anything we do, we they in control. Anywhere we go, they won't follow. And anything we touch, we they turn to gold. Oh yeah, joke for me, I do bear for one. And go on, it's okay, I do bear for one. I do bear for one. Jacka Jones, okay.
Brother, if I start to talk, the thing where I don't take my eyes, see we no going. My brother, we no going. If I start to count, the thing where my back on it don't do, we no going. My sister, we no going. If I start to talk, the thing where my back on it don't do, we no going.
My sister, we no going.
If I start to count all the blessings Papa gonna keep me, we no going. My brother, he no going. When money no day, every day busy. Friends they come and go, but you no leave me alone. Waiting my never see, waiting my never see, waiting my never hear, waiting my never hear. You are take some time, you are take some time. Papa, you always there, you're always there. If I start to talk, the thing with Baba God, it don't do it, no go. My sister, we no go. If I start to count all the blessings Baba God, they keep me, we no go. My brother, he no go.
The Upside, live and real.
Shaking your back, I see. They shaking your back, I see. Of your leg, no got it, they lose, got it legally. No, I'm not about to run a service and I saw it be. I be. Better dance, better dance, better dance, better dance, better dance.
Kelebu Rema. Before that, we had Mmatsheko Mosito's new favorite song, If I Start to Talk, Tiwa Savage.
No, actually, I've always liked that song. It's not new.
All right,
like
fair
I've
enough.
always liked it. There's
Yes.
something about it that kind of bridges modern, the modern African sound with inspiration from like India or something.
Okay.
And I really like it, man. It's
If
such a
I
good
Start
song.
to Talk, Tiwa
Start to
Savage
Talk.
featuring Dr. Sid. Let's take a quick breather. When we get back, it's time for the Upside Spelling Bee.
Ready to connect, innovate, and be inspired? It's all happening at Africa Tech Festival, where Africa's technology meets the world. From the 10th to the 13th of November in Cape Town, join global leaders, investors, and innovators driving the future of Africa's digital economy. Don't miss the continent's biggest week in tech. Get your pass now at africatechfestival.com.
Celebrate generosity. Celebrate you. Channel Africa. Life with gratitude. Visit our new website or download our new app today.
It's 9 minutes before 4 p.m. Central African Time. It's time to upside our vocabulary with the upside spelling bee. Mmatsheko and I will be giving each other words to spell out loud. Whoever gets it right gets the point and is our spelling bee queen or king for the afternoon. And if you'd like to take part, you're more than welcome to. Join us on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. And be honest, by the end of the spelling bee, must tell us if you got both of them correct, yes or no. Mmatsheko Mosito, I shall be a gentleman and ask you to share your wonderful word with me today to spell.
Oh man, I think this is too easy, and I'm sitting here trying to find a more difficult word for you because I know they've got to be English. So
Yes.
I wanted to say please spell Wagadugu, but I was like, you know what?
What?
Never mind.
Okay, never mind. Yes.
Okay, so I'll make it easy for you because.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Please spell vigilante.
Vigilante. Vigi. V.
Come on now, we don't have all day.
Yes. VIGILLANTE.
By the skin of your nose.
Did I get it right?
It was too easy. I made it way too easy. I need to toughen it up for you.
No, it wasn't easy. There we go. We got vigilante. Thank you so much for that. My word for you this afternoon, Mmatsheko Mosito. Please spell mellifluous.
No.
Mellifluous.
Okay, I need the meaning of the word.
Mellifluous means sweet and smooth, pleasing to hear. All right. If I can give you another meaning, it means sweet or musical in sound. I'll give you an example. Her mellifluous voice filled the studio with calm energy. Mellifluous. Absolutely. I'll go a step further. The origin of the word comes from the Latin. Mel for honey, fleur to flow. Fleur to flow. Literally meaning flowing like honey. Mellifluous. Please spell mellifluous.
I'm in trouble here. Okay, I don't have all day, so let's try. M-I
Okay.
L F.
Okay, I'm going to say it again so you can. Mellifluous. Mellifluous.
Okay.
Mellifluous.
Let me give it another try.
Yes.
Okay. M-E L I F L U-O-U-S.
You were 100% wrong. There was one that you were missing there. All right? No. Listen, I'll give you 99%.
That's a tough word, eh?
Okay, no, you were close. You were just
Okay.
missing one L. It's MELLIFLUOUS. Mellifluous.
But otherwise, I'm mellifluous.
You were
just one L short.
You were one L short.
I am mellifluous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let us know in the comment section. Did you get both of them correct?
It's a very good word.
Mellifluous.
Thank you for teaching me a new word.
You see, now you no longer say, you've got such a sweet voice, Mmatsheko, man. You've got such a mellifluous.
Her poetry was mellifluous.
It was mellifluous. Absolutely. It's now
Magnifique.
4 minutes before 4 p.m. Central African Time. When we get back, we hand over the mic to the Queen of Africa in business. That is Tami Ngubeni.
base okay. Shaking them off faster. Shaking keep base okay. Shaking them off faster. Namotilo, Jo wa lese mi o. Namotilo, Jo ti wa lese. Shaking keep base okay. Shaking them off faster. Shaking keep base okay. Shaking them off faster. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Ah. They ask me you, they want to know. At least they go from my country you. You don't go low, people don't go low. And Jisuru, no easy, no money you, no light to you. But anchor, you know the flow. If you vex you, then go come go, then go call me you. Carry you go. Anapatelu mi o shomo. Anapatelu me o shomo lomo. Anapatelu mi o shomo. Anapatelu me o shomo. Shaking keep base okay. Shaking them off faster. Shaking keep base okay. Shaking them off faster. Namotilo, Jo wa lese mi o. Namotilo, Jo ti wa lese. Shaking keep base okay. Shaking them off faster. Shaking keep base okay. Shaking them off faster. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Ah. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Ah. Oh yeah, get more original. That's true. Oh yeah, get more original. Oh yeah, get more original. Only now to get to one level. Oh now to get to one level. Yeah. Anapatelu mi o shomo. Anapatelu me o shomo lomo. Anapatelu mi o shomo. Anapatelu me o shomo lomo. Keep it so cute. Them of us. Keep it so cute. Them of us. Keep it so cute. Them of us. Keep it so cute. Them of us.
Burna Boy, Soke. That's how we end the show this afternoon, the Tuesday edition of The Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, the African perspective with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. Fun show?
Listen, can I just applaud you? I think there's a little bit of Setswana in you. The way you said, or Sesotho, the way you said, Kalibitz Olamoya. Oh my goodness. High five for that, my friend. I'm going to buy you a stock suite. Yeah. I was so impressed. He's like, Kalibitz Olamoya.
That's why you were staring at me. I was like, why is she staring at me? What did I say? What did I do?
I was impressed.
Thank you very much.
Impressed.
4 p.m. Central African time. Let's get the latest news with Jwalani Tulo Ngwebe. Goodbye, Africa.
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. SABC News. The African perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Top stories. Sawa call on Zimbabweans to unite in response to ZANU-PF's latest move, and former US Vice